Hello everybody, it is Steve here, and it is Friday. I'm getting in a little bit early because, the closing hours, and also I'm done with my trading for the day, so I don't really feel like staring at a screen for another hour and a half, plus the time until the after hours closes for futures. Next week, something to keep in mind, we've got a holiday on Monday, so I probably won't be trading on that day. Probably won't be making a video. Maybe not. Don't know. But anyway, gonna get right into it. It's about 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is my time zone. So to start off, let's take a look at the S&P. So we got a sell signal a couple of days ago that I took during the middle of the trading day on the 13th, so yesterday. I took that because it took out the bottom here, and I gave it a little bit of a leeway and entered in at 46.80 because I was like, all right, well, at this point, it's probably not going to rise back up above into this little range we've been in, so I'm not really going to worry about that. And it has paid off. We are up about 50 points here, so that's good. Um, Sorry, people keep calling my phone, so I keep exiting out, getting a lot of those warranty spam calls lately. So we're going to keep being short here because we've got no signals to go long. I think it's going to keep going red. We kind of bounced off of the low of the day from the 0200 time frame period. Um, we were a little bit higher a little while ago, but we've kind of come back down. It's been a pretty good trading day if you're a trend trader like me. Some pretty wide moves, even on the bounce coming back up. So that's nice. So moving on to gold and switch back up to the 1 day time frame. Right, so gold continues to kick my ass here. Um, and I've mentioned before that this is something that I don't really trade at all. Gold acts a lot like a currency to me, at least as far as the price action goes. I'm not really a big fan of it. I like silver a lot better. So it looks like we're going to be having a cross under by the end of the day. I'm going to leave this until now, and I'll take a look at it on Sunday. If the oscillator has crossed under, then I'm going to go ahead and open a short position. We're still in kind of an uptrend here with this whole sort of channel, although it's been really choppy, so who knows. Um, but we're going to keep an eye open on this one. And the Russell back over to the 8 hours because it's an index. Alright, so we've been short on this one. The Russell's been pretty choppy for us, although I think largely we are in the green. So just like with the S&P, this one came down, came back up, went down a little bit further than the S&P's similar session from the 0200. The Russell does make some pretty wide swings. I don't really trade it that often, especially not on my live account. Although I am working on a strategy for that currently, but I haven't actually tested it live. I'm going to work on testing that out in a paper trading account just so I don't screw it up. We'll see how that goes. And if it works out, then by all means I'll let you guys know what I figured out. Moving up to copper. So just like I said yesterday, we have been marking these support and resistance levels for a while now, and came up. The wick passed the support or resistance level here, came back down, had a kind of an indecisive red candle yesterday. Now we're completely on the way down. I'm thinking that this might end up forming a new channel here, but if not, then we could see a major downturn here. We are certainly looking like we're going to be having a cross under on the oscillator down there. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I'm going to keep the position open for now. Take a excuse me, look at it on Sunday, and if it's crossed under, then I will go ahead and open up a short position, and we'll make a video on Monday after hours. Taking a look at crude. Crude has done very well for us at almost 12 grand. And I was mentioning yesterday how we had this indecisive red candle, but we're still very bullish across the board. so that I could see it going up to maybe 85. But with inflation and energy costs being what they are, maybe a macro event will happen and it'll come back down. But the way that it's looking to me right now is that we are totally breaking out. And for any of you who swing trade oil, you've probably been having a very, very happy month. Well, 2 months now. So hopefully none of you were short. Moving on to natural gas. Yesterday, I mentioned how we had been in this little base here, and then it came right up and had a really red day. We've got an indecisive candle here that looks like it could turn into I think you call that a dragonfly. So if it stays right here, that's still a fairly good support level because it correlates to a lot of the turning points over this last trend. We're going to hold on for now. If this does go down lower, I see a cross under happening here, and if that does end up crossing under, we'll go ahead and go short. But otherwise, we're sitting on some pretty tidy gains here. Although we were up, I think it was like 9 or 10,000 when it was up here, something like that. I'd have to go look at one of my previous videos because I honestly, with this account, I don't really pay that much attention to anything that I'm not actively trading. I do my early morning before the bell analysis for my own account, but I don't record that because it's just me going, all right, here's where we were yesterday and last week and last month. What do I think is going to happen? Well, my bread and butter is the S&P and oil, so those are the only ones that I really keep track of, and which is part of the reason why with the S&P I made that early trade yesterday as opposed to waiting until after hours. I was just like, yeah, no, this is definitely going to be red tomorrow, and what do you know, it was. So, no, I'm definitely a lot more comfortable trading some of these instruments than others, which you'll find a lot of traders will say that. Like I'm extremely uncomfortable trading gold, but I'm really comfortable with the S&P. So, moving on to bonds, which continue to do well for us. I was mentioning yesterday about how it came down and then was kind of rallying, but it looks like this might have been a bull trap. I'm extremely bearish on Treasuries across the board, so as long as this keeps going where it's going, we're going to leave this right where it is. Probably going to be the same for the 10-year, so we'll take a look. Alright, the 10-year is even more pronounced. It's a bearish engulfing there. Not that I trade off of patterns like that very often, but a lot of people do, so I'm just going to point that out. Pretty much nothing to add here apart from what I said with bonds. I'm extremely bearish. I don't trade treasuries that often, but so far it's doing pretty well for us. So, maybe I'll start doing this on my main account if this is a successful enough experiment. And moving on to silver. Silver, a lot better than gold for swing trading in my opinion. We are still in a bullish trade here. It's starting to pull back a little bit, but this is a pretty choppy level here, so it could go either way. If we see a couple more red days, probably going to go short, but if it does hold, and we see a rally up to previous highs, then that'll be fantastic for our account balance. Yesterday, if you recall, we were a little bit above 90 grand because we were pretty heavily net long and the market started to turn, so we dropped around I want to say 11% from the all-time high of the account. But from 90 grand of yesterday, we are back up to 92 and a half. So not bad, considering we were 59 grand just like 3 weeks ago, something like that. Well, I don't want to take any more of your time or my time because I really don't feel like doing this anymore today. Because I have been up since, I don't know, like 5:30, give or take. One of the nice things about the tick chart is that I can go ahead in those early hours and not really worry about any huge changes in my trades. So I can be like, well, I've got some bullish momentum here. I'll open a long trade, and I can go off and cook breakfast or whatever, and I don't really have to worry about it because nothing's really happening. As long as you have your stops in place, it's usually not really a problem. So, well, that's just my personal risk tolerance there. So you're going to have to take your own feelings into account. But anyway, that's it. I will see you guys next week.